welcome everybody to a brand new episode here on the Outlaw Nation show, brought to you by the Outlaw Nation patrons themselves. It is called the OK Corral. You guys know I'm a massive fan of Westerns, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun to have a debate show? And look, I know you've seen debate shows on other channels and what have you, so this is our own spin on it because we want to make it interactive for the fans who are patrons of the Outlaw Nation. So it's available for you all to watch as fans of the Outlaw Nation, as subscribers to the Outlaw Nation YouTube channel. But to participate, actually, you have to be a patron of the Outlaw Nation. And that's a way to encourage you to come and join us here on patreon.com/John Rocha. Go and see the multiple tiers. We already dropped the Criterion Corner, which was which I thought was a lot of fun to go and explore a Criterion film. Colin Martinez is the producer for that one. And then we also dropped Ask the Outlaw, which is our first kind of mailbag episode. And that's a shout out to Andrew Hale, who was a producer on that one and compiled the questions for me. And now this is our new one, the OK Corral. You guys know I'm a massive fan of Westerns, as I just said, but the gunfight at the OK Corral, Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, Day. We are going to have some fun with two of our patrons going at each other and then deciding at the end who won. These debates are going to be 3 questions that are going to be asked. The patrons do not know which side of the debate they're going to be on until we start the debate. They'll get a minute. We're going to drop them out for a minute so they can kind of figure out their thoughts and put their points together for themselves, bring them back up into the stream. Then each of them will get 2 minutes to debate one side, whatever side they've been assigned of the debate. And then at the end of that round, I will say who won and who lost, and then we'll move on to the next one. And there's 3 questions today, so this is a fun, quick watch for you all to enjoy, and especially if you're big Batman fans or superhero fans, and especially those of you who are patrons and want to get into debating these kinds of things. I think it's going to be a fun show for everyone to enjoy. And look, I can't do it by myself, so let me introduce you the producer of the show, and that is one who is he's the supervising producer of all the patron shows here for the Outlaw Nation, and that is Sean Barriteau. What's up, Sean? How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you, John? I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking back and forth about putting this thing together, and it's been fun to kind of figure out the parameters and the specifics of this one. And this is just going to be just a lot of fun. This is what I love to debate stuff myself personally. So to watch other people debate, it's great to get to know the fans a little bit more and the patrons a little bit more and their points of views on certain, franchises, on certain characters, on certain movies, what have you. All of it is in play here on the Outlaw Nation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The only sad part is because I'm helping set up the show, I can't be on it to debate because I also love debating movies too, John. So hopefully someone could take my producing spot for an episode and I can jump in on one of these.
I think that's absolutely possible. I think that wouldn't be an issue at all, and would love to have you debate in. But today is not about Sean debating. Today is about 2 of our patrons debating here on the Outlaw Nation. By the way, Sean and I will be discussing things throughout the show as well. So he will be more than just a producer on the show. He'll also be kind of helping me out, co-host the show as well in certain moments. But let's bring on our first contestant. You know him from the Let's Get Ready to Talk Schmodown podcast as the producer of that podcast, and his favorite film is The Dark Knight. And I mention that because Batman is going to be the basic subject of each of these questions we're going to ask here in the debate. That is a patron of the Outlaw Nation himself and fellow Latino, Colin Martinez. How are you, Colin? What's going on?
I'm good. How are you, John?
Good.
And you're right, fellow Latino. That's why I got the Honduras jersey right here.
Representing Honduras. That's right. Or Honduras, as you might say.
Honduras.
And are you excited about this, Colin? I mean, have you, like, when you were pitched this idea of being a guest on here, the idea of debating, is this something you do with your friends as well?
Yeah. I mean, I always debate stuff with my friends, my parents. I've been basically debating all my life. Everyone told me I should become a lawyer, but I'm not sure about that. We'll see if I can debate Batman very well, because I don't know. We'll see.
All right. I think he's underplaying it. He's one of these guys that kind of underplays it. Could be a silent assassin. You just never know.
That's right.
Never trust the quiet ones, right, Sean?
That's correct.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen with him. All right, let's introduce his competitor, and straight from Glasgow, Scotland. You know him as Drunken Prayer, or maybe you've met him in real life as Chris Aikman. His favorite film is Batman Begins, and he is going to begin to try to whoop some ass here today. And there he is right there, Chris A. Drunken Prayer. What's up, man?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Are you ready for this? Are you wearing a Superman shirt? Are you ready for a Batman debate? Oh, there.
Oh, hell yeah.
Ooh,
Nice.
Repping the heroes and the villains.
nice, very nice.
I think it's
Yep.
nice to see Chris in some light. Usually Chris is in the dark with a beer when he comes on to do the on-camera hangouts on the Outlaw Nation.
Yeah,
So
you caught us
What's that?
you caught us on a rare sunny day in Scotland. We get them like maybe 2 days a year. I actually got the windows open and everything. It's brilliant.
Wow. Yeah, it's been hotter over there in the UK from what I saw.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, you're recovering from Liverpool winning the whole thing as we're recording this. Must be tough for you to see Liverpool winning the whole thing.
English don't care about that football league.
What's on tap for you today, drink-wise, man?
Local tenants lager.
Nice. Getting himself nice and ready. Colin, any drink of choice there for yourself? Or are you just going this thing sober?
Sober.
All right.
I mean, I'm 19, so.
Yeah, I've only had 2.
Chris will have a drink for you.
All right, guys. So you guys have heard the rules. We will drop you out. And after we tell you which side of the debate you're going to be on, you'll have a minute to come up with your points. Then we'll bring you back up. And then you'll have 2 minutes to present your side of the argument. There will be no cross debating, just 2 minutes to present your side of the argument. And then we'll decide who won that debate. So it is a bit of a difficult situation for this first person to go because you kind of have to anticipate what the other person might have to debate. So we're definitely going to alternate depending on the question, who goes first and who goes second. But the person going second doesn't necessarily have the advantage if the first person does such a great job presenting their position and also undercutting a potential position you might have, because you have to go right immediately after that person finishes, and it may put you on your heels if you're not ready to also counter their points or what you think their points might be in this. So certainly a fun challenge for anybody who's going to come on the show, and for you two gentlemen as our first contestants on the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, our first question here is, which is the better Batmobile? Batman 1989 or the Batmobile from Batman the animated series? So you're arguing between live action and the animated series. So I think I'll give Chris Batman 1989 because he's older, and I'll give Colin Batman the animated series because that seems closer to when Colin was actually watching stuff on TV. So I'm going to give it to you, Colin. So let's. Are you guys ready? We'll drop you out for a minute, and you're free to look on the internet, Google, whatever you need to do. You have a minute, and you're ready to go. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right. You got the clock on, Sean?
Minute starting now.
All right. Interesting first topic to talk about here. I mean, there have been so many great Batmobiles over the years. I mean, even the Adam West Batmobile is pretty badass. And we saw the Tumbler, in essence, in the Christopher Nolan one. And in Dark Knight Returns, that thing was massive.
Yeah, but I mean, I have a soft spot for the 1989 one, only because Michael Keaton.
Oh, yeah.
And to hear him like he might be coming back into the fold now, it just makes it even this topic kind of very relevant.
Yeah, are you excited for him coming back? Are you a little nervous about it, or do you think he'll be fine?
Oh, I think he'll be fine. 23 seconds. I think it'll be great, especially if they go the Batman Beyond route.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
How many seconds left?
Absolutely. As of right now, 10.
All right, 10 seconds. Count it down and let me know when we hit that one, and we'll bring it back up.
4, 3, 2, 1. Bring him back.
All right, Chris and Colin back in here to debate this topic here. I think I'll go with Chris. Chris, are you ready to start first?
Yep, I believe so.
Okay. All right. 2 minutes on the clock, Sean. You count it down and let him go.
Your 2 minutes begins now.
Okay, so we got the 1989 Batmobile. Coolest, obviously. First reason, this is the first time we got to see a real cool, practical Batmobile directed by none other than Tim Burton, one of the masters of cinema. Without this Batmobile, you would not have the animated series Batmobile. The animated series Batmobile totally based its look off of this car. Look at the length of that thing. That thing's bigger than a... Sorry, watch my language here. I was going to say bigger than an effing limo. No, it's huge.
20.
You get the first big reveal. Like, there's nothing compared to... God, 89. I was 6 years old when that film came out. I remember going to see that in the cinema with my dad, seeing that reveal, Batman getting into the Batmobile for the first time was the coolest thing you ever saw in the history of the world. That film was bigger than anything at the time, and that Batmobile marketing was all over everything. Every kid wanted that toy. The animated series the Batmobile from the animated series never had that type of influence as this 1989 Batmobile did. And I'll see the rest of my time on that.
Okay, how many was that? 45
40 seconds.
40. Oh, you had 40 seconds. Anything more you want to add, Chris?
Oh, I had 40. That was only 40 seconds.
You got 40 seconds
left. You have left. You got 30 now.
Do you want to add any more? Right.
Technically speaking, can we bring up the fact that it was used in Batman Returns as well?
Feel free. If you got 25 seconds, not 20 seconds.
In that case, technically speaking, we also get to bring up the gadgets because we get to bring up that cocoon mode when everything goes down around it. It basically turns itself into an armored car. No one's ever stealing that Batmobile from you. That Batmobile in the cartoon gets stolen so many times by so many criminals. And I see the rest of my time on that.
All right.
Oh, and then there you go.
All right. I like it. A couple of really good points there. Like 2 or 3 really good points from Chris in presenting this. So a nice presentation from him. Colin, all right. So, Chris gave you a couple of things to think about here. We're moving into the Batman, the animated series Batmobile. So, Colin, are you ready?
Ready as I can be.
Okay. All right, Sean. Count them down.
Your 2 minutes starts now.
All right. Look, Chris, you said Batman 89 is better because the Batman animated series Batmobile built off of the 89 one, but you know what? It did build off of it, but it's better because it just looks cooler. It's sleeker. It's grayer, which I think looks kind of cool because it does. Look, I don't know much about Batmobiles. I didn't even know what this one looked like beforehand, but a lot of people, I talk to a lot of people, okay? And a lot of people, they tell me, I hear from a lot of people, the Batman, the animated series Batmobile is the best. And I think that is as much as you need to know about which is, because I know a lot of people. A lot of people know me, and I talk to those people, and they all say the Batman, the animated series Batmobile is far superior to the Batman 1989 one. And you got to see a lot more of it, because that show was on the air for what, 3 years? Batman 89 was in theaters for 3 months. I mean, yeah, sure. People might watch 89 more today, and I don't even know if that's true. I've never seen it. I don't care to see it. But I think it has more influence because I think a lot more people have seen the animated series, and a lot of people grew up with that show. Not me. I was like 10 years late to the game, but it has a lot of influence on people's perceptions of Batman. Than the 189 film that maybe Rocha has influence from.
Yeah, maybe.
But not me.
All right. Is that the end of your argument?
That is the end of my argument.
All right. See to 20 seconds. All right, Sean. We heard some interesting points here. I mean, I respect Colin Martinez going with the Trump argument. Speaking to many people say, I totally respect his point of view. He's spoken. I don't denigrate the fact that he has probably spoken with a bunch of people, but I was looking for a little more specifics. I think Chris made the better points here, saying that the Batman and the animated series, it was influenced by Tim Burton's Batmobile. That's important. I did note that Colin kind of said, yeah, it was influenced, but then it improved it. But Colin didn't back it up by saying how it improved it. What did we see? Was there a design? Were there new gadgets? Were there certain looks that it did? Weapons, what have you? There wasn't a lot of necessarily detail from Colin's side of things. But I did note that Colin, kind of has spoken to a bunch of people who do love the Batman, the animated series Batmobile. I'm not going to discount that. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to give me specifics about why, so it's cool that a lot of people, and I don't doubt it, that the majority of his friends like that Batman, the animated series Batmobile, but I need to hear why specifically. And I also think Chris made a great point. Drunken Prayer made a great point about Batman Returns, kind of near the end, almost losing the argument here in his mind, and then pulling it back and going, oh yeah, on Batman Returns, that's the same Batmobile, and they add the cocoon feature and all the gadgets there specifically within the Batmobile. So all of that, I think in the end, I got to give the point. I feel like I got to give the point to Chris. What's your feeling on this, Sean?
I think you're right about that. I think if Colin would have talked about the gadgets that the Batman animated series car Batmobile had, just like the ejector seat, it had like it had a bunch of cables and everything. So
Yeah.
I think if you would have made that point, I think he might have won the argument. But I think you're right, Chris won that round.
Yeah, I feel that way too. All right. Well,
Sorry,
good
Colin.
arguments, though. Good arguments, and I appreciate both of you gentlemen
Well done, Chris.
being willing to have this debate with us. Let's move on to our second statement here. It's Batman: Mask of the Phantasm is the best animated Batman movie of all time. I think I'm going to give Colin the yes on this one. Colin, you are in the side where you are defending Batman: Mask of the Phantasm as the best animated Batman movie of all time. Chris, you will debate against this, that you believe that it is not. And there's another Batman film that's animated that you think is better. So let's drop you guys out, give you a minute to get your points together, and then we'll bring you back up for your 2-minute statements. Sean, are we ready?
And you guys' minute begins now.
All right, there to go. Batman. A lot of animated Batman films to talk about. Certainly, I mean, you've got Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2. You've got Under the Red Hood. You've got a bunch of other ones, but the Batman Beyond one, Return of the Joker. Right? There's so many great ones. But Mask of the Phantasm is the one that people love. It's been released in the theaters. Like it's got a special place in some people's heart. And what about you? Do you remember that one as well?
Oh yeah, I saw it in the theater when it came out. Also because I was a fan of the show, and when the movie came out in theaters, like, I gotta see this. And the villain to have the Phantasm and the Joker was like,
yeah.
I don't want to give anybody any feel, but that movie was just amazing. It was so amazing. 10 seconds.
All right, 10 seconds.
5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
All right.
Up.
All right, let's bring them in one at a time here. All right. Chris, I think Colin, you should go first since Chris went first last time. So are you ready?
Sure.
Are you ready? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sean, let's give him a 2-minute count.
And Chris, your 2 minutes. All right, sorry, Colin, your 2 minutes starts now.
All right. Look, Batman, animated stuff. I thought about the animated series. There's a lot of animated Batman, but this is clearly the best. Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. It's got many great things going for it. All right. First, came out in 1993, which is a great time for animated films because it was pre-3D CGI animated films, which I personally am not a big fan of that style of animation. They may look great. I love Pixar, but I prefer the more hand-drawn, traditional animated style. And then you have Mark Hamill as the Joker. Everyone talks about Mark Hamill as the best Joker. Some people say, Joaquin Phoenix or what's his name, Heath Ledger. But a lot of people believe Mark Hamill. I think he's definitely one of the best Jokers. And he did that with his voice because he's a great voice actor. And also, one thing you really got to know with this film is the only Batman animated film to be theatrically released until 2016 when The Killing Joke came out. I mean, I think that speaks for itself because the studio, they knew that they could make money in the theater off of this, and they did, and it has an 84% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is pretty good for an animated Batman film because I don't really pay attention to them because most of them are trash, to be honest, but I don't know. This is a good one.
30 seconds.
This is a great one. It's a great one, and I'm sure I'll love it when I watch it.
What's wrong with you? All right, there we go. Let's go. Are you done? Are you good with your argument, Colin?
I'm done.
All right. Well, there's Colin's argument. He's pretty much nailed it there under the 2 minutes for his side of things. Sean, I was a little surprised by this. He kind of went after the other Batman animated films, completely denigrating them. But maybe that's a smart move because he's trying to undercut whatever animated film Chris might bring up to say is better than the Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. Chris, all right. Are you ready? 2 minutes on the clock. Sean, count him down.
Indeed.
Chris, your 2 minutes begins now.
Colin. That to start with the fact that you've never even seen the film. I mean, come on, that should be enough here. But seeing as I'm not going to go for a cheap argument here, I'll come at you with some facts. Mask of the Phantasm, no argument, great film. Mark Hamill, as you said, great Joker. Do you know you missed out of that argument? You missed out Kevin Conroy, arguably one of the best Batmans of all time. My choice doesn't have Kevin Conroy. It does not have Mark Hamill. Do you know who it does have? It has Peter Weller, RoboCop himself. I'm talking about The Dark Knight Returns, 2-part animated feature, adapted from one of the most beloved Batman comics ever made. Almost perfect adaptation from comic to screen. That thing is picture perfect. Phantasm, great original story. Can't deny that. They came up with a great original story, but at the end of the day, it wasn't written by one of the greats. The Dark Knight Returns was written by the great Frank Miller before he went a bit off the rails, but let's ignore that. I'm just looking at my notes here. I've pretty much got Peter Weller and RoboCop right down. So yeah, Mask of the Phantasm, no doubt it was, as I say, one of the greatest Batman animated films ever made. But no, the greatest has to go to the greatest adaptation of any Batman story ever made. This story has resonated with fans of Batman for years and years and years, and finally seeing it animated and voiced by a brand new cast is just a thing of beauty.
All right, is that it? Is that your argument?
Dark Knight Returns, Peter Weller, RoboCop, Kevin Conroy, he's Peter Weller, based on a blog comic, mutual respect for Phantasm. Yep, that's me.
3. There you go.
All right.
It was a tough argument. It was a tough argument. The Phantasm. How do you argue against that?
Yeah, Colin or Chris, you had a tough argument to make against one of the most revered films ever in the Batman legacy. Certainly Mask of the Phantasm. People have such a soft place in their hearts for that movie, even though it's an animated film. I don't think an animated film moved people theatrically that's superhero based until Into the Spider-Verse. I think that's the connection there. Mask of the Phantasm, Into the Spider-Verse. Both films came out and absolutely blew people away about what you could do with superhero animation. Hopefully, we don't have to wait another 23 years or however long it's been. I'm not really good at math until we see another really good adaptation of a superhero animated film. I tell you what, I think I looking at Colin's points here. He said it's a pre-CGI animated film, talking about his love of hand-drawn animation. I thought that was a great specific point to make. Certainly, a lot of people. I don't know a lot of people would make that point. So I thought it was actually a damn good, intelligent point to make. Some people might go for the overall look of the film or the fun effect of the film or the direction of the film. He went for the fact that it was hand-drawn animation, which I know a lot of people miss and are nostalgic for. So I appreciated that point. Mark Hamill is the Joker. Fantastic point as well. And him saying that it was the only Batman theatrically animated film that was released theatrically since 2016. Oh, I'm sorry, until 2016 with The Killing Joke. Thought those were all excellent points. Chris certainly had an uphill, an uphill climb on this one to defend it or counter a lot of Colin's points. And I think he came close, but I got to admit, I don't think that Chris got the job done necessarily because he spent a majority, or not a majority, but at least half the time praising Batman Mask of the Phantasm while trying to prove that The Dark Knight Returns is a better one. And when he said the adaptation was good, and look, it is a damn good adaptation, but he didn't say specifically what it is about that adaptation other than it was a straight adaptation, but what it was that made it great. What was it that put it over the line? What was it that made it different from the comic book or added more to the overall presentation of the comic book? I think that could have helped his argument overall here. But in the end, I think I have to give this one to Colin. I thought Colin argued had just a couple of better points than Chris had, and you could tell Chris was struggling to defend this situation.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I mean, Mask of the Phantasm. Don't you argue against Mask of the Phantasm?
Yeah, it's a tough one to argue. What do you think, Sean? Am I wrong on this one?
No, I think you're right. I think if Chris may have went with Under the Red Hood, I think that one, because I agree Batman Mask of the Phantasm is the better one, but I think Under the Red Hood would have been a better movie to compare it to.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with, because Chris spent a lot of time praising that movie, so which I can't blame him because it's good. But yeah, I think Chris made the better argument. Colin made the better argument, even he hasn't seen it. So hopefully watching this, making this debate will make him go watch the movie because it's a damn good movie.
As soon as Colin said he hadn't seen it, I was already ready to strike against him but unfortunately, Chris didn't bring up enough points to validate my choosing Chris over Colin in this situation. I thought Colin, even though he hadn't seen it, made the better points. And that sometimes in a debate, that's how it goes. Sometimes in the showdown, you have to answer a question. You've never seen the movie, but you troubleshoot your way into the right answer. And it feels like Colin did that with this debate. All right, so we are tied 1-1. We're going into our last debate question. Who would win in a fight between Nightwing or Terry McGinnis? And Terry McGinnis being Batman Beyond, Nightwing, of course, being Dick Grayson, a.k.a. the former First Robin. So this is an interesting debate. Well, we went with Colin rather last time. I think I'll go with Chris this time. Chris, I'm going to give you Nightwing. And Colin, I'm going to give you Batman Beyond. And I think for this one, we're going to give him 2 minutes. This is the one to decide the debate. So I think I'm going to give them a little bit of extra time to come up with their points, come up with their knowledge. So we're going to drop them out for 2 minutes in just a second. Start it now, Sean.
Yep, already did.
Good to go. Yeah,
how are you thinking the debate's going so far?
I think it's good. I think in the future, because it's the first show, we're figuring this all out still. So for those of you who are watching, figure out on the fly. I think giving them 2 minutes for each of in between each of the debates is actually a better idea, so they have more time to formulate their opinions or formulate their points. And maybe in the future, well, as we said before off camera, we'll give them the debate questions ahead of time so they can come in with answers and with the ability to debate. And I think that'll make it a more spirited debate, both sides having multiple points. And for our fans watching who might be yelling at the screen their points, maybe it'll reduce some of their frustration as well. What about you?
I mean, I think we can go either way. I think if we give them ahead of time, then we can stick with the 1 minute. But if we, I think it depends. And I think I'm also curious to hear what you fans think. Should we give them the statements ahead of time, or should we keep it a secret and then just give them a little bit longer to prepare, or stick with the format that we have now, where we just give them 1 minute without them knowing the topics ahead of time? So, and
remember, we're not by giving them the topics ahead of time. We're not telling them which side they're going to debate. We're just letting them know these are the topics. So be prepared to debate one side or the other. Yeah,
that's correct. 40 seconds. So the reason I went with Terry McGinnis and Nightwing, because I think that's a more comparable fight. I don't want to go Batman versus Batman. That would be kind of weird.
Oh, yeah.
But the idea of Terry McGinnis and his, the younger Batman versus Tim Drake, Dick Grayson, who's kind of learned from Batman. They both kind of did. Be a very interesting fight. I'm curious to see how they debate this one. I'm really curious. What do you think, John?
Yeah. How much time we got left?
10 seconds.
All right, 10 seconds for them to finish up their points. And then when we bring them back up, they're going to have 2 minutes each to debate, to present their point of view. And then we'll decide who has the right one. Where are we at? Are we good?
Yep, we're done.
All right, Chris. So you have Nightwing, a.k.a. Dick Grayson, a.k.a. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I think, to debate this situation here against Terry McGinnis in a fight. Robin versus Batman Beyond. This is interesting. Or Nightwing versus Batman Beyond. So, Chris, you have 2 minutes. And Sean, count them down.
All right, Chris, your 2 minutes starts now.
Okay, I'm going to try to go a bit more slow in this one, gather my points. I feel like I've been rushing a wee bit here. So to start with, Nightwing, a.k.a. Dick Grayson. We've got the original Robin, the first, the best. The first one, he was trained by Batman at his peak physical fitness. Batman, he was trained by and mentored by Terry McGinnis. He had his Batman. He was an old man. He's worn out. Didn't even want to get back into the crime fighting game. There's one strike against him already. Second of all, Dick Grayson, much more independent, especially once he splits off and he's on his Nightwing. He becomes very much his own hero. Terry McGinnis in that show, he's quite often, not always, but quite often seeking Bruce Wayne's praise, more of his attention. He feels a bit needy at times.
Yeah.
Which certainly you can say about Dick Grayson when he was younger, not when he became Nightwing. We're pushing aside the Robins, we're talking about only the Nightwings. Also, Dick Grayson, a.k.a. Nightwing, just going to pick one here, Nightwing, naturally gifted. He was raised as a circus family. He's naturally talented. He was perfect. He was the perfect ward for Batman, the perfect person to train up to become a living weapon to aid him in crime fighting. He didn't even find out who Batman. He found out who Batman was on his own because he was so curious about what was going on in that mansion. Second of all, Scrapper.
30 seconds.
After his family died, he was sent to an orphanage where he had to fight tooth and nail for his respect and his own upbringing before Batman took him in as a ward. Finally, as a good point you brought up, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Nightwing was teased in the films. Terry McGinnis, he's never been teased to go live action.
10
Do
seconds.
you know why? Because he's not as iconic as Nightwing. Terry McGinnis does not deserve a live action
5,
film. Nightwing does.
4, 3, 2.
End.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Interesting points brought up by Chris. A lot of clearly giving him a little bit extra time, got him to get more points in. And the fact that he went a little bit slower for himself, he was able to use the full 2 minutes to get his points across more clearly and succinctly. That's usually what you have to do in a debate. You want to be understood and you want to have your points make sense so that you can win the debate. All right, Colin, what do you got here? You got 2 minutes. Sean, count them down.
All right, Colin, your 2 minutes for the final debate starts now.
Okay, look. Batman Beyond is clearly the superior character. First off, he's not some little guy, Dick Grayson. I don't even know. That's a bad name. His name's Terry McGinnis. That's a great name. And he's the son of Bruce Wayne. Okay? Technically. He's the biological son of Bruce Wayne. Dick Grayson, he's just a little kid who ran around with Batman for a few years in a tight suit, and then he got himself a blue and black suit with some batons and a little mask. Like, what's cool about that? Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis, he's got a black and red suit. He's basically got claws on his fingers. That is awesome, okay? You got batons versus claws. I think you know who's going to win. The guy with the claws and the superior suit. The one whose suit is older, like 20 years old when he got it, but is far technologically and scientifically advanced. To
1 minute.
Little piece of spandex. Okay. Batman Beyond had his own animated television series that I have actually seen, and I like it. And a lot of people talk about it as their favorite incarnation of Batman in animation in the television form, of course. And when you talk about Batman and his sidekicks, people talk about, like, when are we going to get a Batman Beyond movie? I've never heard anyone talk about a Nightwing movie. And even then, I was about to say Nightcrawler because his name is so boring that it makes me think of a better film like Nightcrawler or character. Nightwing, no one cares about Nightwing. That whole Joseph Gordon-Levitt thing in The Dark Knight Rises.
15 seconds.
It was just a little throwaway line like, oh, here's a little nod to Nightwing. Batman Beyond, he's cooler. He's the son of Bruce Wayne. He actually has
5,
real dedicated
4,
fans who want to see him
3,
in film.
2, 1.
I'd love to see it.
Time's up.
All right, some interesting points from both Colin and Chris on this. This was definitely the most heated of the two debates in terms of the points being thrown back and forth. This is a very, very difficult decision. Certainly, Chris on one side made some excellent points. Sean, he talked about Dick Grayson, Nightwing being the first of the Robins, so certainly getting the majority of the training from Batman. By the way, both of these gentlemen trained by Bruce Wayne. Both Nightwing and Batman Beyond being trained by Bruce Wayne. One an older Bruce Wayne, one a younger Bruce Wayne. I was surprised by that argument not coming up that Colin could have made, saying that an older Bruce Wayne, you'd have a full like 40, 50, 60 years of training and knowledge and intelligence and expertise to draw upon if you're Nightwing, whereas Robin only had the first initial beginning few years of Batman before he broke off to be his own character and develop his own thing. I'm surprised Chris didn't bring up the fact that Nightwing led the Teen Titans, so Nightwing can handle fighting multiple situations or all the villains that he fought as the head of Teen Titans. That was surprising. Also, Colin didn't mention any of the villains that Batman Beyond fought in the Batman Beyond series, and this time he actually watched the damn series. So as opposed to Mask of Phantasm, so I was surprised he didn't bring up that. But Chris brought up the fact that Dick Grayson is naturally athletic. He brought up a circus background. I thought that was a great point to make. Absolutely. He found out who Batman was on his own. So certainly conveys a certain level of intelligence that Dick Grayson has and detective sensibilities that Dick Grayson has. And then his fight to overcome all of that to be his own person. I thought that was important points to make. I was surprised he didn't mention the fact that also with Dick Grayson in this situation, he's always given as good as he's got with Batman. If there's any one person who's not intimidated by Batman, it's Nightwing. Colin brought up some interesting stuff too. Said he tried to use the Finstock argument about the names. Which name sounds cooler? I didn't anticipate that, but I thought it was a legitimate argument to make. He did make a good point here that Terry McGinnis is the biological son of Bruce Wayne. Hadn't thought about that when I appreciated that. Also argued the technical aspects because we are arguing who would win in a fight. And Colin was the one who addressed the situation a little more firmly by saying claws will destroy batons every single time, referring to Nightwing's batons that he's using. He actually used the technical fight, batons versus claws. Also, and I think this is important, Colin mentioned that his suit, Batman Beyond suit, Terry McGinnis' suit, is more technologically advanced than what Nightwing's suit might be, whether he was in the tights as Robin or as Nightwing. And then also mentioning, I thought this was the point here, the Batman Beyond movie. The fact that people clamor more for a Batman Beyond movie than a Nightwing movie. I mean, the first thing people said when they announced Michael Keaton coming back, it wasn't as, oh, are we going to get a Nightwing movie? It was, no, are we going to get a Batman Beyond movie? So in the end, I have to say that as tough as this decision was, because both sides made some really good points, I gotta surprisingly have to go with Colin Martinez here, the silent, quiet assassin. I felt like he made more points. Sean, do you agree?
That's a tough call. I mean, I think if Chris would have brought up the fact that Terry's suit is more reliant on the suit, I think you should have hammered that home more because without the suit, Terry McGinnis isn't as skilled of a fighter. So if he didn't have the suit, he wouldn't be that much of a hero. So I think you should have hammered that point home more, and I think he would have won the argument. But I kind of have to agree with John. I didn't see this coming, especially in round 2 when he said he didn't see Batman Mask of the Phantom. I thought Richie had this in the bag. But, like we said at the beginning, Colin is kind of a silent assassin a little bit here.
Yeah. I gotta agree with you, Chris. You went to the watering hole, but you didn't drink by saying yes. He is more intelligent. He found out who Bruce Wayne was or Batman was on his own. He's certainly an intelligent guy, so he could have figured out a way to deprogram Terry McGinnis' suit. That's how he could have used his intelligence. That would have been a great argument to make to counter Terry McGinnis and the suit that he has. So Sean brings up an excellent point. But I got to thank both Colin Martinez and Chris Aikman, aka Drunken Prayer, for coming on. This was a lot of fun for a first attempt at an episode. I thought this was a blast, and I thought you guys were picking it up as you went along, and certainly led to a good, fun last debate between the two of you here on this third statement or third question. So thank you, Colin. Thank you, Chris. Any final statements from both of you? Are you okay with the decision?
Yep, I'll be completely honest. I forgot the last round was who would win in a fight. I was just arguing the better one. I've got no issues with Colin winning that one after thinking about it. I think if we had a 30-second counterpoint, that would have been brilliant because I could have come back against some of that. But unfortunately, as you say, you've got to predict what the other person says, and I did not predict that suit argument. That was...
Yeah. It might not be a bad thing to add on. I don't want to have cross debate. Certainly a comeback of 30 seconds might not be a bad thing to add to the show going forward. So maybe you two will meet in another episode of this down the road, and maybe, Chris, you'll get your revenge on Colin with a little bit more time to have a counterpoint. Colin, how do you feel about this? Did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah, it was fun. I thought after the first round I was done for because I really don't know what I'm talking about here, but
don't rub it in, man.
Hey, man, you did brilliantly.
But hey, yeah, thanks, man. You did great too. I thought the whole time I was talking complete nonsense, and I thought you were making sense. But hey, it's I guess I won. That's cool.
You did.
Yeah,
you got some good points across the grid. Before we let you go, what are the anything you want to plug? Anything you guys want to promote? Colin?
No, I guess if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Real Colin M. That's with 1 L. And go watch Let's Get Ready to Talk Schmodown podcast.
Yep.
You can find us at that name on YouTube. I think it's Let's Get Ready MTS on Twitter. We have some great stuff coming down the pike.
Yes, the pike.
Whichever one it is, the pike. We got some great stuff coming, some great interviews, a lot of fun over there. Shug, Justin, Ferris, John was just on the show. Check it out. That was great.
It's quite a debate. All right. Cool. There you go. Chris, you got anything to promote or push forward?
No, I'll just say to folks that are when this eventually comes out on YouTube, if you're not on the Patreon, sign up. It's a good laugh. You get to join in on fun things like this. I get kind of not roped into it. I volunteered, but Sean very thankfully brought me in and had a great time. So yeah, come on over.
Good. And are you on Twitch, man? Are you playing stuff on Twitch? Do people follow you on Twitch?
I'm trying to get started sometime in the next week.
Okay.
It'll just be at Twitch Drunken Prayer. Same username I use everywhere. So I'm hoping to get that started sometime in the next week.
Perfect. Follow him at Drunken Prayer. That's where you can get in touch with Chris. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate both of you coming on, and thank you both for promoting the Patreon as well. I appreciate you being part of the Outlaw Nation. It's been a joy to get to know you guys even more and have fun with you guys on shows like this and on those hangouts. So thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Anytime. Thanks for having us again.
All right. There we go. Both of the members of the OK Corral here. First participants of the OK Corral, Sean. I thought it went well. And I think in the end, we made the right decision with Colin winning this one.
Yeah, it's, again, surprisingly, I didn't think he was going to win, but even though he hadn't seen a lot of the stuff, he made some very good points, and I think that's the point of this debate. Even if you're not that familiar, it's all about the points that you make that could win you the debate one way or the other. So it just goes to show everybody who's watching the show about future episodes. It's really about the points, not necessarily the content. So just keep that in mind, guys.
Absolutely. Something definitely keep in mind going forward. All right. Well, that's the end of this first episode of the OK Corral here, brought to you by the Outlaw Nation and the Outlaw Nation channel, and definitely brought to you by the Outlaw Nation patrons as well. If you want to be part of the patron and you want to participate in this show, go to the Patreon. It is I don't want to say I hate doing that. The patreon.com/John Rocha. I'm sure it's going to be in the graphic below here. Patreon.com/John Rocha. See the multiple tiers that are available there. See the tier where you can play and be selected for the OK Corral and have a little fun debate. We got a lot of stuff coming up. We're going to debate some Lord of the Rings topics. We're going to debate some professional wrestling topics. We're going to run the gamut. We're going to run the gamut for sure. Franchises, pro wrestling, sports maybe. Everything's in play. Whatever you see on the Outlaw Nation can be in play. Thank you to Sean Barriteau, who is the producer of the show. Really appreciate it, Sean. It was good doing this with you. And thanks to all of you for being part of the Outlaw Nation and for being Outlaw Nation patron members. Appreciate it greatly. Follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. And hey, if you're stumbling upon this and you've never watched anything on the Outlaw Nation, well, come and watch more of our content and subscribe down below as well, and like and promote this video. Share it on all your social media and tell people to subscribe to the Outlaw Nation. For Sean Barriteau, I'm John Rocha, the Outlaw, saying thank you so much, and we'll see you again down the trail sometime soon. Take care until then.